the difference between stress, anxiety, and an anxiety disorder. Raise your hand if you've ever said, "I'm so stressed," when you meant anxious, or "I have anxiety," when you were actually just stressed. Yeah, me too. And honestly, most people mix these up all the time. But here's the thing. Understanding the difference isn't just about getting your vocabulary right. It's about getting the right help for what you're actually experiencing. Welcome back to my channel. And today, we're going to break down the difference between stress, anxiety, and anxiety disorders in a way that finally makes sense. Plus, I'll share some real-world examples that might make you go, "Ooh, that's what I've been dealing with." The confusion is real. Before we dive in, let's acknowledge something. Even mental health professionals sometimes use these terms interchangeably in casual conversation. So if you're confused, you're in good company. But here's why it matters. Imagine going to a doctor and saying your stomach hurts, but not mentioning whether it's sharp pain, dull ache, or nausea. Each needs different treatment, right? Same thing here. Stress, anxiety, and anxiety disorders are three different experiences that show up in your body and mind in different ways. And more importantly, they need different approaches to feel better. So let's start with the basics and work our way up. What is stress? Let's start with stress, the one we probably know best. Stress is your body's response to external pressure or demands. Think of it as your internal alarm system saying, "Hey, there's something you need to deal with." The key word here is external. Stress usually has a clear cause. Your boss just dumped a project on you that's due tomorrow. You're stuck in traffic and late for an important meeting. Your car broke down and you don't have money for repairs. You're planning a wedding and everything is going wrong. Here's what's important. Stress is usually temporary and tied to specific situations. When the stressor goes away, the stress usually does too. Stress follows a pattern. Stressor appears. Your body responds. You deal with it. Stress decreases. It's actually designed to help you perform better and handle challenges. Your heart rate goes up. Your focus sharpens. You might feel a burst of energy. This is your body preparing you to handle whatever's coming your way. The problem isn't stress itself. It's when stress becomes chronic or overwhelming. What is anxiety? Now anxiety. This is where things get interesting. While stress is about external pressures, anxiety is more about what's happening inside your mind. Anxiety is your body's response to perceived threats or dangers, even when there is no immediate external stressor. Let me give you an example that might sound familiar. You're lying in bed at night, and suddenly you start thinking, what if I get fired? What if I can't pay my bills? What if something happens to my family? Notice something? These are all what-if scenarios. There's no actual threat happening right now, but your mind is creating potential future problems, and your body is responding as if they're real. Stress, I have a presentation tomorrow and I'm not ready. Anxiety, what if I mess up the presentation and everyone thinks I'm incompetent and I lose my job? And see the difference? Stress is about what is happening. Anxiety is about what might happen. Anxiety can include physical symptoms too. Racing heart, sweating, difficulty concentrating, restlessness. But unlike stress, these symptoms might show up even when everything in your life is going well. When anxiety becomes a disorder. Now, here's where we need to talk about anxiety disorders. And this is really important because there is a huge difference between having anxiety and having an anxiety disorder. Everyone experiences anxiety sometimes. It's normal and human. But an anxiety disorder is when anxiety becomes so intense, frequent, or long-lasting that it significantly interferes with your daily life. Mental health professionals look for several key things. Intensity. The anxiety is severe enough to cause real distress duration. It lasts for weeks or months. Not just days interference. It's getting in the way of work, relationships, or things you enjoy disproportionate. The anxiety doesn't match the actual threat level. So, for example, feeling nervous before a job interview? That's normal anxiety, but avoiding applying for jobs altogether because the thought of an interview sends you into panic. That might be an anxiety disorder. There are several types of anxiety disorder. Generalized anxiety disorder. Excessive worry about many different things. Social anxiety disorder. Intense fear of social situations. Panic disorder. Sudden, intense episodes of fear. Specific phobias. Extreme fear of specific objects or situations. And here's something crucial. Anxiety disorders are medical conditions. They're not personality flaws or signs of weakness. They're treatable, and millions of people manage them successfully. Real-world examples. Let me paint you some pictures to make this crystal clear. Stress scenario? Sarah has 3 deadlines this week. Her car is making weird noises, and her mom is visiting next weekend. She feels overwhelmed, maybe loses some sleep, but she makes lists, tackles one thing at a time, and by next week, she's feeling much better. Anxiety scenario. Mike finished all his work early. Everything is going smoothly, but he can't stop thinking, what if something goes wrong? What if I missed something important? His mind keeps creating problems to worry about, even though there's no current crisis. Anxiety disorder scenario. Lisa has been having intense worry about her health for months. She checks her pulse multiple times a day, avoids certain foods, and has canceled social plans because she's convinced something is wrong, even though doctors say she's fine. This worry is taking over her life. See how each one feels different? Different intensity, different duration, different impact on daily life. The good news. Here's the really good news. All 3 of these are manageable. But they need different approaches for stress, time management, and organization, problem-solving skills, stress reduction techniques like exercise or meditation. Sometimes just addressing the stressor directly for anxiety, mindfulness, and grounding techniques. Cognitive strategies to challenge what-if thinking, relaxation methods. Learning to tolerate uncertainty for anxiety disorders. Professional support is usually helpful. Therapy, especially cognitive behavioral therapy, sometimes medication, building a support system, and remember, seeking help for an anxiety disorder isn't giving up or being weak. It's being smart. You wouldn't try to fix a broken bone by yourself, right? If you think you might be dealing with an anxiety disorder, talk to your doctor, a therapist, or call a mental health helpline. There are also tons of online resources and support groups. So let's recap. Stress is about external pressures. Anxiety is about internal worries. And anxiety disorders are when anxiety significantly interferes with your life. Understanding the difference helps you figure out what kind of support you need. And whatever you're dealing with, there are strategies and people who can help. I want to hear from you. In the comments, share what resonated with you today. Are you dealing with stress, anxiety, or think you might have an anxiety disorder? Your story might help someone else feel less alone. Hit that like button if this helped clarify things, and subscribe for more mental health content that actually makes sense. Remember, your mental health matters, and you deserve support. I'll see you next week.